What if we woke up each morning deeply assured in the knowledge that we have enough, we are enough, and we do enough? What if we just decided that these things are true? What would change in our lives if we just suddenly realized that we are exactly who and what and where we're supposed to be? Hi there, welcome to Sunny with a Chance of Chaos. I'm Lindsay, your host, and I'm so glad you're here. So grab a coffee, get comfy, and get ready for a little bit of chaos and a whole lot of sunshine. Welcome back. I want to talk today about enoughness. I have been thinking a lot recently about a scarcity versus an abundance mindset. And one thing I've noticed is that many of us, myself included, have lived under the guise that there is never, quote unquote, enough time, enough money, enough love, enough energy. And I have come to realize the impact that that can have on our self-worth, our productivity, and our general quality of life. I'm going to start with an old story. As you know, I'm a teacher, and as you may also know, teachers are type A by nature. We like to do it all, and we like to be in control of it all. And yes, this is a stereotype, but let me tell you, having been in the business of education for 20 years, there are not too many folks I've come across in the teaching field who are passive. This is highly beneficial when we're managing a classroom of 30 tiny humans. Sometimes, however, this mindset can result in us being way too hard on ourselves. Many years ago, I was teaching a kindergarten class. I had the gift of an early childhood educator teaching partner in the class with me. The two of us worked really well together. She had lots of great ideas. We followed through on them with vigor. We were workhorses. We fed off each other's energy, creating and innovating for our small humans day after day, and we loved it. We were totally in the zone. It was wonderful. We were so proud of the work we put in and the results we got out of our students until we had a chance to head to another school and tour their kindy classrooms for networking purposes. We walked into this one classroom and our jaws hit the floor. We were in awe of the setup, the activities, the energy, how well behaved the students were, how well they could read and regulate their bodies. We took down a lot of ideas, but instead of feeling inspired, we walked away feeling like we were just not enough. And this was kind of in the same vein as the suffering by comparison we sometimes do through social media. This classroom was like Pinterest personified. And we made our way back to school. My teaching partner and I were feeling kind of defeated. All the effort, attention, care, planning that went into our classroom, we felt like we were nowhere near the caliber of that other room. So how could we possibly do more? The next day, my brilliant and compassionate teaching partner came to school with a printed sign and she hung it over our desk. And it said, "We have enough. We do enough. We are enough." And it made me cry because we got lost in the moment of comparison and completely lost sight of the efforts that we had put in and how much our small citizens had grown and developed that year. And most importantly, how happy they were to come to school every day. We were enough. And it stuck with us. That sign remained fixed over the desk for a few Septembers, and it went a long way in reminding us what was really important, which is the happiness and the engagement levels of our students. So what is enough? Enough always felt to me like a cop-out, like putting in half-ass effort and just saying, there, that's good enough. Or like enough is just shy of abundance, like we have enough money for groceries, but that's it. I will stop here to check my privilege. I live in a North American middle-class world, and I'm grateful for the opportunity and gifts that this life offers me. And sometimes this middle-class North American model of living feels like one big, giant race. And it's because of this scarcity model and mindset that we're taught to believe. It always feels like if I don't rush and get there, someone else will get it, and I won't have it, and I won't get my share. Black Friday mobs are a great example of this. I gotta get that comically large TV for 5% off before someone else takes the last one. Flash sales that come up on social media saying, order now or else, don't miss out. We see this a lot in the dating world as well, particularly in online dating. The mentality that I gotta get that one eligible candidate before someone else snags them. But what if all of this was actually false? I have a new understanding, and that's what I want to talk about here. We don't have to live in scarcity. We can live a life that is calm and centered and peaceful, and we can live in a satiated state knowing that we're enough, and we have enough, and we do enough. Let's take another example. My oldest son's 3rd birthday party. It was superhero themed, and we went all out. Again, it was like Pinterest exploded all over the house. I refuse to go into too much detail here because it's wildly embarrassing, but I will tell you this. We handmade personalized capes for every guest. Handmade capes. And here's the thing. During that time, there was an ongoing slew of 3-year-old hyper-themed birthday parties on the calendar week after week after week. And after attending a few of these, the plans I had for a low-key party just weren't sitting well with me because, suffering by comparison. So we went Pinterest wild right down to the Captain America fondant cake, finally completed at midnight the night before. It was adorned nicely with the tears of frustrated and overtired parents. To what end? Honestly, to what end? Was any 3-year-old going to walk into that party and go, wow, look at the detailing on the glitter glue on that place card? No, they ate the glitter glue and came back for seconds. We had lost sight of the purpose to some degree of hosting a party for a 3-year-old. The goal? For him to have fun and not be too overstimulated. He doesn't even remember that party just from the photos. And yet the blood, sweat, and tears we put out to prove to someone who ourselves, our parents, our friends, our neighbors, to prove that we were enough. So how do we come to accept that we have enough, do enough, and are enough? There are a few ways that I have come to understand this in my life. Sometimes at the end of a day, I take the temperature of my enoughness. I think about the effort I put in, the love I gave and received, the interactions I had both professionally and socially, and I ask myself these questions. How do I feel about the effort I put in? How do I feel about the result of those efforts? Do I feel anxious that I didn't do enough? And if the answer is yes, if I'm feeling anxious, then I ask, am I looking at my day through a scarcity lens or an abundance lens? If I'm feeling down or low or lonely or anxious when I do this check-in, chances are I have a scarcity mindset at that moment. Let's talk some examples. Okay, let's say it's a Thursday morning, it's 11 o'clock a.m. I have only gotten through writing half that report for work. The date from last night I thought went really well, hasn't texted yet. I haven't had a chance to check in with my friend who's struggling with her mental health, and on and on and on. In what areas do I feel scarcity? Performance, attention, effort. But if I shift my mindset to that of abundance, I might internalize that the date from last night actually messaged me something very kind after dinner and then mentioned how they were going to be swamped at work all day. The report I was writing only really has edits left to complete, and I took my friend to dinner just last week. Another trick to increasing our sense that we've done enough is to always consider what was the original goal or purpose. If your plan was to get a proposal out of that man or woman after one date, then yeah, there does seem to be scarcity. If your plan was to finish that and 4 other reports by Thursday afternoon, then yes, there does seem to be scarcity. But if you're just getting to know that person and you've heard positively from them since the date, maybe you're not in the red after all. And maybe if the goal is that that report and that report alone gets done by Friday, then maybe you're ahead of the game. The goal for my 3-year-old at the superhero party: be celebrated, go to bed feeling loved and full of cake. And guess what? He was, with or without the glitter glue and with or without the capes and the intricate designs. So perhaps try considering the original goal before judging yourself too harshly. There are 4 main categories I tend to stress about in terms of enoughness. Maybe you stress about the same things, or maybe some of these ideas can be useful for you in other areas of your life. Number 1, effort with my kids and household duties. This depends wildly on circumstances. So doing quote unquote enough when I have a fever of 103 might be ordering 10-piece nuggets through Uber Eats and calling it dinner. However, enough when I'm well rested and at my best might be a roast beef on a Tuesday night. My kids and I actually call that proper dinner. It's a rarity on a weeknight, and they are always astounded when we have different sections of food on our plate, like meat, veggies, and salad. On a school night, proper dinner. That's what we call it. Consider the circumstances of the day or the season of your life. If you're going through a move or a death in the family or a breakup, your enough might look a little different than the previous month. Number 2, another area I tend to feel this scarcity in sometimes is my efforts in friendships. Have I checked in enough? Have I asked enough questions about their day? Have I put in my fair share of effort? If I'm looking through a scarcity lens, I might think, I didn't do enough for my friends today. But through an abundance lens, I might remember that I texted them first thing in the morning to say, have a great day. And then we chatted briefly at lunch about their kids' volleyball game. So there was effort put in, there was attention paid. And chances are, if I asked that friend, she would say yes, she felt seen and she felt heard that day. We often put undue pressure on ourselves and spread ourselves too thin when really the friend in question likely feels an abundance of your love and care. Number 3, effort at work. What's that old saying? You'll die with your inbox full. It's a very old cliche, but I think there's something to it. You may feel like you're not pulling your weight at work, and some days you might not. Like when your kid wakes up with an abscessed tooth and looks like a one-cheeked chipmunk and you have to take an emergency day off. Just as a very specific example, that definitely happened to me. But let's take a standard day. A scarcity mindset looks at that inbox, all the emails you didn't send, the project you didn't finish, or the filing you didn't complete. Abundance mindset looks at the outbox. It looks at all the things you did accomplish. It also takes into account the amount of time and effort certain things took. The abundance mindset forces us to look at all the things that went well and all the things that were gained rather than the pile of things we will apparently die having never completed. Number 4, enoughness in love and relationships. I have noticed in the middle-aged dating pool, there is a prominent problem of enoughness. Anyone experience online dating or middle-aged dating in general might recognize the feeling that happens sometimes when there's a rush or a race to get a reply, a meetup, lock it down with someone in whom you're interested, because there always seems to be a shortage in the dating pool. There's a shortage of love, a shortage of attention. Folks in the dating pool are often vying for similar things, and the concern is that if we don't get there fast enough, someone else will, and there'll be no love left for me. All of this is a scarcity mindset, and it's very dangerous. This concept, there's no one left. All the good ones are taken. I'm going to die alone. But what if we looked at it a different way? What if there is enough? What if the entire world is just filled with an abundance of interesting people and love and attention and affection? What if we adopted an abundance mindset wherein there is more than enough love to go around? And if someone else finds a match and a good connection, it doesn't take away from the amount of love that's left in the world for me to receive. Perhaps I'll get it from another source, because perhaps hypothetical Jason from Tinder wasn't actually my soulmate after all. Perhaps instead of a scarcity model, we start to think in terms of what is right for you will find you. Just because Jason decided to go in another direction doesn't mean there isn't enough love and affection out there for me. Patience is a virtue, as well as letting go of what isn't meant for you. I know it seems passive to wait around, but having patience and believing in abundance is so much more empowering than settling for the wrong person because you're scared nothing else will come along. Having an abundance mindset, knowing that there's more than enough love to go around, has actually taken much of the anxiety out of dating for me. Phew. It's a relief. Okay, let's talk more about simply being enough. We can look through the lens of abundance and see our efforts. These things are fairly quantifiable. We can count them, the things we have and the things we do. But what about being enough, just the way you are? What if being exactly who you are, just as you are, is already enough? I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here and diving into the stacks a little early, but I wanted to read a piece from her website that struck me, and I could not have said it better. So I will let her words take the lead here. You are enough does not mean that you have been measured and considered and judged, and that you have finally earned the label of enough. It doesn't mean that you've worked long enough, tried hard enough, presented well enough. It's simply who you are. The you that you are is enough. You don't have to be more or do more or buy more to be who you're meant to be. That's what I mean when I say you are enough. I love this so much. The first time I read it, it struck me right in the center of my chest. For so long, I thought being enough was dictated and measured by how much I had and how much I did. Productivity and material goods are at the center of so much of the value systems in North American culture. Do more, get more, then you are more. But what if we strip away the accolades and acquisitions? Our enoughness is solely based on our existence. I know this is getting a little, as my friend S calls it, woo-woo, but I'm serious. What if who we are is inherently enough? I think believing in this is the ultimate act of self-love and the ultimate example of abundant thinking. You are enough, and you don't need letters behind your name or certificates or achievements or 10,000 followers on Instagram to prove it. You are enough just the way you are. Okay, I'm diving into the stacks. I kind of already did, but I'll just give you a little bit more information about this author. Her website, melissacamarawilkins.com, has an article called Permission Granted. Be who you are meant to be and let go of the rest. And that's where that quote came from that I read just a couple of seconds ago. She's also authored a couple books, and you can check those all out on her website. Okay, we made it. I am grateful today for the ECE who reminded me that I'm enough in the classroom. That message has really stuck with me over the years, and I appreciate it. So thank you for that. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to turn your face towards abundance this week. See you next time. Bye.